Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. Since this week is the week before Christmas, we've decided to share some good tidings about the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists, which has provided many inspiring stories for our episodes of This Week in Adventist History this year. I'm the Encyclopedia editor, and with me is Dr. Dragoslava Santrac, who works as managing editor of the ESDA. Slava, tell us where things stand with the ESDA.
I'm delighted to report that with 4,000 articles and 11,000 images at encyclopedia.adventist.org, the ESDA now has more than 50% of its planned articles completed and online. I thank all our contributors and readers worldwide for their continuing support. It's very encouraging to see the number of unique visitors rising each month, coming to nearly 40,000 recently.
Nearly 40,000 unique visitors in a month is indeed encouraging. What do people say they like about the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists?
Well, people appreciate the motivating stories of Adventism both locally and worldwide. It is also the way the stories are presented. The encyclopedia articles are both scholarly and faith-affirming, and as such, they are used for research by scholars and students, but also in preaching, personal devotionals, Bible studies, weeks of prayer, and for children's and youth programs.
Thanks so much, Slava. Please share with us a story that's in the encyclopedia and that is from This Week in Adventist History.
The story is about Thelma Smith, American missionary in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Thelma Chu was born December 21, 1904, in Glenwood, Indiana. She married Herbert Smith, and wasting no time after graduation from Emmanuel Missionary College, they sailed for China on August 11, 1927. After 2 weeks, they arrived in Shanghai, where they spent the following 9 months studying the language and then finally headed upriver to West China to their new station in Guiyang. Tragically, less than 2 years after arriving in China, Herbert lost his life during one of his visits to the rural areas of his district. The China division of Seventh-day Adventists suggested that Thelma and her young son return home, but Thelma decided to remain in Guiyang. She faithfully served there for the next 11 years when she moved to a new mission station, this time in Henan province, closer to the Japanese front lines. Her dedicated work there was interrupted when in January of 1941, Japanese conducted an aerial raid on the mission and a bomb detonated some 20 feet away from her home. The entire compound was damaged and the Japanese troops were only 15 miles away, and so the missionaries had to flee. Thelma and her son arrived in the United States several months later in July. Although she was no longer in China, Thelma continued her religious work as a Bible worker until she returned to China in 1948. Due to the civil war in China, Thelma had to unwillingly leave China for the second time by the end of 1949. But she continued her mission work in Taiwan and for 2 periods in Hong Kong until she retired at the age of 80 and returned to the United States in 1984, having spent 47 years as a missionary,
Wow.
40 of which were in Chinese-speaking Asia.
Thank you, Slava. Read the entire articles about Thelma Smith and others in the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists at encyclopedia.adventist.org. That was This Week in Adventist History.